Stephanie the Furry. This is the girl that introduced me to Fanime. She cosplayed as Amy from Sonic-The Hedgehog. And the great thing about this girl is that was the only girl that made me feel better about being a person more than hanging out with a guy. That was the first girl that I didn't look at literally as a piece of meat. I literally enjoyed her personality for what it was. But it all got destroyed the day I got muscles. Stephanie was a very calm, cool, collect character, but where it came down to it, she was funny as fuck. She was the only girl that literally can make me laugh in the whole fucking school, and she talked about anime, and she kept on talking about how she wanted to learn how to write, and she was one of the best drawers in class. This is back when I was heavy on my manga. I introduced her to my manga of Nons, and her favorite character was Keto. She would always be like, Keto, Keto, I loved Keto. Literally, she read every single chapter of my manga. She even read the Frostbite filler with Moldy Hero, and she loved it. Back when I was in high school and I was Nons heavy, Stephanie was literally one of my best friends in 3 periods. It literally, here's the thing, I made a vow that I would stay away from the streets my sophomore year, because freshman year, if you go back to my freshman year videos where I did a lot of bad activity, is when I started stealing, is when I started doing a whole lot of shit I shouldn't have. Kind of similar to flight school freshman year when I started doing something I shouldn't have, but the difference was I was getting social validation. But that's a story for another video about how bad habits in freshman year got dropped in both schools, and how Stephanie literally gave me hope that man and woman could be friends, because I was getting rejected in school and I was talking to her like a normal human. Now Stephanie was no more than I would say a 5. I said she's alright. She had a rump. She was very nerdy, wore glasses, shaggy hair with freckles. And I wouldn't think of fucking her for a second, because her personality was so distracting, her talents were so distracting, her multitask ability was so fucking on point. She was the shit. I started talking to her about One Piece. I started talking to her about Happy Tree Friends. I started talking to her about every fucking thing under the sun, and it didn't matter at the end of the day. I'm sorry to be a buzzkill, but let's get on to best friend who ended up her crush. Now, I've had a lot of situations like this where I act retarded, after like the girl likes me, which obviously doesn't. My best friend, who was an anime nerd, was trying to hear her 24/7, and he happened to sit right next to me. And it did not fucking matter. He would always ruin our time, because he would always act like the world was about him. This is back when I used to hop on tables when I was in junior high, where I was too hyper and acted like that. I'm like, I don't care what people think. I like me. I'm like, no, you have to change. Stephanie was heavy on telling him, you have to grow up, you have to change. He's like, I don't care what people think. If you didn't care what people think, then you wouldn't be doing dumb shit for attention. I like who I am. No, you want the world to bend over for you. And this is my best friend, who I just hung out with because he was an anime nerd and nothing else. We had nothing in common. He barely liked my animes, but Stephanie was so multidimensional. But guess what? I was too nice. And that guy actually ended up with a girlfriend. He actually ended up with a girlfriend, and that girlfriend was fat. But Stephanie is one girl that he could not get. So here's what happened. She talks to me about everything. We start talking about sex, we start talking about anime, we start talking about hentai. I'm like, Stephanie, I'm going crazy. I don't know what to do. All I'm doing is talking about nipples and shit like that. She's like, beware of how many people have sucked those nipples. She would do the most surprising things at the most devious of times, and she's all like, you know what, ever since I actually freestyle once, it actually turned out great. I'm like, there is no way your Scooby-Doo looking ass was able to freestyle. She's like, no, I'm actually was able to freestyle. And then we started talking about Dave Chappelle, and he's like, oh, I love Dave Chappelle. It was so fucking funny. So he was talking about the one stand that was a crack baby was in the projects, and then Dave Chappelle looks over. I'm like, you see that one? He's like, oh yeah, I got kids at home. Hella fucking funny. I even told her about Family Guy, about how girls loved assholes and how Lewis was all like, does that make me a bad person? Then Stephanie is like, yes it does. But all jokes aside, Stephanie has a very serious tone to her. What I was going through, what my friend was going through as an anime nerd, as people, what high school does to people. She literally had this theme. I'm like, I'm having fun in the moment. I'm going all out. I can tell by the effort she was putting into her drawings, by the effort she was putting in school, that once she graduated, I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gone. So it didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter shit. She had that cloud over her head. Despite all that funny shit, that cloud is like, I hate people in high school. I hate fucking humans. All men are disgusting. This and that was going through her head. The same thing that was going through my head is, why are they picking on anime nerds just because they want to be friendly? Just because they don't resort to making fun of people to fit in? Just because they don't bash people? Just because they don't do dumb shit? Just because they're not trying to break the law? Just because this and that? We're all going through the same thing. And I literally can tell by the look in her face, it's people giving her shit because he's trying to be a good person. It was a struggle all anime nerds were going through. It fucking sucked. But Stephanie really had a birth disorder when it came down to what was really real. You're saying that you're showing me all this charisma, all this affection, and I am not getting anything out of it other than a few laughs? That clock was ticking. I was having multiple periods with her. I had 2D animation with Stephanie too. And we were talking about One Piece, and we were talking about how she was able to multitask, and how women are better at multitasking than men. Metaphorically speaking, because I was just asking a general question of how you're able to play Minecraft, read One Piece subbed, do all this other shit. Even showing her saber pulse. And I got nothing out of it. Because you know why? She told me that you're not really struggling. You want what the popular kids have subconsciously, but you're not willing to do the dirty shit that they're willing to do in order to get it. Because you know why? C is secretly a freak. So we're talking about all this sexual shit during my art class, talking about pussy, talking about hentai, talking about genitals, talking about everything, and literally all these intellectual conversations we're having, and we're not going out, we're not doing anything. I want to tell you, that is horribly bad for a person. That is horribly bad, because what's happening is you're making a close relationship and you're accepting all this monumental shit as nothing. Now, I made a previous video that Revy from Black Lagoon was nothing because all she does is cuss and use guns, when that's not the truth. The truth behind it is, Revy is a very real-ring character. She is a very badass character. I love that. Especially, I love the fact that she uses guns. I love the fact that she smokes cigarettes. I love everything about Revy's character. I'm saying that in the lens of a grown man, what her character defines on the outside when you look at it at a mature aspect. Now, I haven't got to see Black Lagoon too much, but how this differs from Stephanie is that Stephanie is the exact opposite. All that intelligent shit is making up for the fact that she's a freak inside. I'm sorry. It's been there. It's been known. She doesn't talk about sex, or a woman talks about sex with you, men, do not fall for that shit that she doesn't want to do it. When she teases you, it's for a fucking reason. Stop accepting the tease and start calling it out, saying, oh, you did throw that ass at me for no fucking reason. You did that ass at me because you want it. And literally, I failed to call that out with Stephanie, and it ended our friendship. If I would have called it out during high school, we wouldn't have gotten into the dilemma that we got when we both parted ways. So, junior year comes along, and I have 2D animation class with Stephanie, and I also have 2D animation class with my friend Lindy, who is also my friend since sophomore year, since high school. You see, I accepted being an anime nerd my sophomore year because I failed at being a gangster my freshman year, and so they both supported me in my anime full-fledged. Now, here's what happened. They invited me to Fanime 2011. My junior year in high school is when I first found out about Fanime. So I thought of cons as, you know, these aren't anything really special. You know, I only get to see a couple of Haymaker cosplayers here and there. The biggest cosplay I've seen before Fanime was Pain from Naruto. And literally, all I would do was collect art at the booths, and I wouldn't really take too many pictures, but I would take just enough to say, hey, it's cool to see some people dressing up as anime characters in cosplay. But when it came down to it, Fanime blew my mind because I got to see every single character I never thought I was gonna see in cosplay, like Anko from Naruto, and that was back when Generations came out. Naruto Storm Generations, where Anko was only a support. I actually got to see her in cosplay, and I was astonished. I got to see Sasori, who was also my main when I was a sophomore in high school back when Storm 2 came out. I got to see everyone. I got to see Death the Kid, and it was amazing. Now, this is a time where I was struggling being an anime nerd, and this literally made my day, and it made me realize the difference between streets and what the fuck Fanime is. I loved Fanime at that moment, but it was still just no conviction. Stephanie brought her sister along, and I had to get her sister. And literally, even after the convention, you know why? Because oh man, I'm not gonna lie to myself like how girls lie to men when they tease them. Is what happened when I went to Fanime. All this monumental shit was happening. I got to see Kisuke Urahara. I got to see every single person. Stephanie was Amy, and my friend Lindy was Harley Quinn. Funny enough, my best friend who was annoying Stephanie went out with Lindy right after the convention my junior year. So it was crazy. So here's the thing. So why you're ruining Fanime, right? Because this is what I'm trying to tell you. Fanime literally that year showed me that I am a nerd. Okay? I am a nerd. I have to accept it. But this is getting out of hand. I have no social skills. Even before my brother told me that, yo, it's okay. You just stick with your anime. Be yourself. Everything's gonna turn out okay. There are girls who cosplay. Little did I know, the first time I tried to get out of cosplayer, I got curved. Hard. I got curved like high school hard. Like I got curved like the girl who saw the creepiest guy in school and she's trying to get away from him hard. Yes. That hard. I got curved to that extent. This is at the same family where Stephanie invited me to. Oh, but look at the positives. You get to go with two bitches. I'm like, one of them looks like Velma from Scooby-Doo and the other one is flat. And is autistic just like me. Just face it, I'm settling for less instead of striving for harder. All that hard work I put in the 8th grade in order to become a privileged shinobi went out the tubes as soon as I accepted being an anime nerd with nothing else, and Stephanie proved that fact. So Fanime gets out the way. I'm still a virgin in high school. I still have my suicidal tendencies, and I go through my hood nigga phase back when I'm 21. And so I get a kid, and I get back in my anime grind. I start changing my wardrobe. I start becoming an internet celebrity, and I meet Stephanie. Well, I thought she gave up on anime when I was a junior in high school, and this is the new and improved me. This is Rizanaki, the current day. Oh, I'm no longer Rizanaki. I'm Mootrix. I'll save that video for another day. But the main point of this video is Stephanie was so on point when it came to being an anime nerd. When it came to high school, she's like, I don't give my number out. She was literally the archetype that taught me, yo, don't ask for a cosplayer's number. They're sheltered anime fans just like you. Their family just let them go outside because they're gullible and they don't want them to get hurt. You know why? Because Stephanie's only form of contact with me, and I had 2 years of experience with her. This is someone I knew. This was back when being respectful was actually a thing. The most she would give me was her DeviantArt account. So, number is out the question. Nothing was like that until I went to Crunchyroll 2017 when I grew muscles, when I started to get fancy hip-hop clothes. She automatically recognized me as a nigga. And she gave me her number all of a sudden. I'm like, okay. So we grow up. I know her. I'm not going to see you again. A square would look at it as like, oh, of course she gave you her number. You know each other for a long time. You might not be able to see each other again. I'm like, what happened to her DeviantArt account then? What nerds fail to realize is all bitches love eye candy. All bitches love guys with big muscles. I'm sorry. Now, some of them, like Bella Easter Egg, says that I don't want a guy with a six-pack because it's generic, and all the guys that try to get at me have six-pack. This is different. This is a completely different story. This, when me and Stephanie saw each other, she's like, it was her first time seeing a hood nigga, which I really wasn't. You know, I'm still an anime nerd. I just went through some struggles because I didn't believe the bullshit that my mom was telling me that women like you for who you are. When as soon as I stepped my wardrobe up, Stephanie immediately didn't hesitate to give contact. And she was literally hella nervous. She was on me. And I tried to talk to her and try to see if it was all good, and the first thing she asked me when I get in the deep conversation, this is back when I'm at the group home, if you go to Dark Game, chapter 1, is when I talk about Stephanie and how she tried to make me a BML provider by covering up, saying that, yo, you need to go to school or work, and I understand the struggle you're going through. I'm like, no, you don't even know how the situation started. I told her, why are you asking me that? Because the first guy who offered me a job, if you go back to that chapter, tried to rape me in the car. So I'm like, oh hell no, I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting. And so she's all like, you gotta keep trying. So the whole point, if you wanna know what she's trying to do, she's trying to cover up, saying that she doesn't want to fuck me, saying that you gotta get your shit together so I can be introduced to her parents, so I can look good with her in society. She's doing the exact thing the popular girls did, is step your game up, but she's doing it in the context of, oh, I'm gonna be sweet and loving and understanding. No, you be understanding. You be like, I understand, I didn't mean to hit a soft spot, and that was the truth. So I had to tell her. She literally asked me that question only because I had the baggy jeans, I had the big ass muscles, I had the faded cap, I had everything that you would love from the hood nigga, and she couldn't get enough of it. And just let me know man and woman couldn't be friends. So you're telling me all those talks during art period was for nothing? Are you telling me that I can't treat you like an anime nerd anymore? Every single word that comes out of your mouth has to be an innuendo? And that is what ended the friendship between me and Stephanie.